Well, first of all, just to again extend our huge thanks to you for doing this, and I'd love to start at the very beginning actually, and ask you a bit about when you first got interested in issues of climate and issues of sustainability. You know, what was it that triggered that first interest?
When did I become aware of climate? I'm actually not a trained natural scientist at all. I am a trained social scientist. I'm an anthropologist. Did both my undergrad and my graduate degrees in anthropology because I was fascinated by change, and I wanted to understand how does social change occur, and that's why I studied anthropology. But without and was an active anthropologist for the first few years of my professional life. But then the following happened. I, as a very young child, having been born into a political family, accompanied my parents on their political campaigns to every single corner of this beautiful country. And one corner that they took me to was to a national park called Monteverde, where we had an endemic little golden toad that was not only endemic to Monteverde, but it was the only habitat in the world in which the species was present. And I saw this little golden toad, and I must have been, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12. And that marked my love for nature. I just thought, I have never seen a more gorgeous thing, living being in my life. And I just totally fell in love with nature. And then my love of nature, was wonderfully fertilized through the fact that I'm Costa Rican and we have so much nature surrounding us and so much biodiversity. And I feel incredibly privileged to have been born in this beautiful country. But then when I became a young mother, I thought it was my responsibility to instill in my daughters the same love of nature. And I wanted to take them back to Monteverde during the season of mating of these golden toads, and they were gone. Wow. They were gone. So it's not that the individuals were gone. No, the entire species had gone extinct. And I was appalled. I was absolutely appalled. And I began to ask the scientists, because Monteverde has a lot of scientists, there's a lot of research that is going on there. And I said, what on earth, what happened? And this was 1989, in which the last individuals of that species were seen. My daughters were born in 1988 and 1989. And they said, well, we actually don't know yet, but we think that there is a rise in the temperature of the surface of the forest, and that rise in temperature caused a fungal disease on the skin of these amphibians. And as you can imagine, these amphibians have a very, very sensitive skin, and that disease killed the species. And I thought, how on earth is that happening? And furthermore, I thought, if I, in my 35 years, because I was 35 years old at the time, have actually witnessed the disappearance of one species in my lifetime in this tiny little country, that must mean that many species are disappearing without me personally witnessing it across the planet. And I was just panicked, because I thought, as a mother, there is no way that I am standing up to my responsibility as a mother if what I am giving my daughters is a diminished planet. The whole purpose of parenthood is actually to provide better conditions for our children, not worse conditions. And it was just like, a 4x4 hit me, and I went like, I cannot stand by. I absolutely cannot stand by, because it wasn't just about my two tiny little daughters, right? It's the generations that come after us. And so my realization that even at 35, I already was the ancestor to future generations, and that I have a legacy that I will leave, and that I need to be mindful of that legacy. That was like the huge realization that I had. And so I started studying myself into figuring out what on earth is happening. And before I knew it, I found myself in the basement of the UN building in New York, before COP1 of climate change, and working on behalf of my country to figure out how do we design a COP process that is going to implement what already had been accepted and adopted by all countries in 1992 at Rio de Janeiro, which was the Framework Convention. But the Framework Convention is sort of a goodwill statement. It has no teeth, and it actually needed teeth. And that's what the COP process is. And so there I was in the midst of climate change because of a little golden toad.